YouTube decided I'm no longer allowed to use the music in my intro, so now, until I find another one, you're stuck with my voice.
What is up guys, this is Theo coming at you today with a discussion about reprints and how they affect the game. Now reprints are a very big thing. Without reprints, a lot of decks couldn't be played by most. It just enables Yu-Gi-Oh players to gain access to those very difficult cards to get to. Because if, for example, we look at Dragosack is a very high priority card that a lot of people want, and it's only been released in Secret Rare, so already it's one of the hardest rarities to get, bar Ghost. It just means that when that card is reprinted, it just opens up possibilities for other people to pick up the cards. Very simply, that's what it does. It also means that people can explore with the card as well. Like a lot of people might start picking up Mecha Phantom Beasts, because I know that a lot of people really wanted to play that deck and try it, and then the main boss monster's a Secret Rare. Kind of killed it for a lot of people because no one wants to pay 40-50 quid for it now. It was about 90 quid then. But reprints just enable people to really get into the game. Those budget players, the people who don't want to spend that ridiculous amount of money on that one card, that comes negatively to some people as well. Because if you have gone and paid out that massive amount of money for one card or two cards, and then only to find out that it'll be reprinted in a 10 quid set, 20 quid set, or 15 quid tin, it's going to make you pretty angry. And it does make a lot of people angry. One of the ones, well, the most recent one for me, was when Firefist Bear was announced as a reprint. I knew so many people that were hoarding Ultimate Bears. Like, it was ridiculous. They were hoarding them for about 20 quid a pop, and everyone was going hyped over it, going, this is going to make us money, this is going to be ridiculous. And then all of a sudden, Bear gets reprinted as super rare in the tin, and people lose a hell of a lot of money. But is that Konami's fault? Is that, does that have anything to do with Konami? No, in my opinion. People who stockpile on cards, who think it's going to be good, and then they get their arse handed to them basically by Konami because it's been reprinted, isn't necessarily Konami's fault. It's just something that happens. Like, if a card is in high demand, the likelihood is it will be reprinted at some point. Now, normally reprints don't happen very quickly. They will happen, say, at least a year after it's been released. There are exceptions, of course, but more often than not, cards will be reprinted further on down the year. There are exceptions to be never reprinted, or reprinted a lot earlier. But that is besides the point. It's an interesting thing to think of how they really affect the game. What happened when Firefist Bear got reprinted? The deck kind of came down in value a little bit, and more people started to pick it up. It doesn't make the deck completely budget, because there were still a lot of cards that you needed to get a hold of. Extra deck cards as well were a thing. With Wolfbarg coming out, it kind of made it more of an expensive deck as well, because then you needed to get 3 Wolfbarg. Not a problem anymore, because Wolfbarg's at 1. Reprints for the game can either be considered healthy or unhealthy. I think the only people who will consider it unhealthy are the people who are trying to make profit off those cards. It is a healthy thing for cards to be reprinted, because they will go out of print and therefore it will be harder to get, and in the secondary market the card price goes up. So for people who want to pick up the deck, or like the card, or anything like that, it becomes very difficult and quite unfair for someone to actually have to pay out for this card. You can argue that is the way of life, and that's how it is, that is just the game. But I feel that Konami actually look at the problem and address it occasionally with these reprints. Now, the other reason for reprints is legality. Over here, we don't have the GX manga, the Zexal manga, we don't have any of the mangas, and we don't have the Shonen Jump magazine. The cards that are released in that are not legal over here for us to play. We have to wait for them to be printed in some form of set or some form of special edition before we can legally play it in our tournaments and locals. So that is another reason why reprints are good, because it affects the game positively for players who are in certain areas that the legality doesn't actually affect them because it hasn't been printed in their country. So that is one good aspect of reprints. Kind of summing up, I do understand that it is annoying because a card will lose its value, therefore if you've paid out for it then you will feel hard done by, but that is something that will always happen in the game, because at the end of the day it is a children's card game, and it needs to be accessible for people. Like, the cards need to be accessible, otherwise it's just going to be killed off very quickly. So I want to know what you guys think about this. Like, what do you think of reprints in the game? Is it good for it, or is it bad? Are you one of those people who are normally affected by the reprints? Do you try and make money off the game, or are you just a casual / tournament player who will just want to pick the cards up when they are reprinted because it means that the deck is now accessible? So thank you very much for watching. Let me know down in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe, and I shall catch you guys later.